This is our first stream in about a week. Adam is back from vacation. Dude. How
hardly vacation. Is it ever vacation traveling, bro? I just like, man, it's like travel everywhere, and I just like there's no vacation. Like being home is a vacation, man. Like being on the road and like I don't know. For me, it's like I'm just too old, man. But I travel everywhere. I'm like, we got Vegas coming up. We're going to be going everywhere. So, it is what it is. But I don't know if I've had a vacation in a decade, man.
Same, bro. Same. Oh my God. I know how you feel, Adam. Trust me, I know. I used to be doing it like in my Web 2 life. It was like, yeah, like I was going on like 2-3 vacations. The second I would feel the cold in New York, it was like, I'm out. Public here, there. Oh my God, I miss vacation, guys.
Well, just to let everybody know, we had a bit. One of our providers for Hustle's memory basically went down about an hour ago or so. So you guys may have noticed that in your Hustle chats. Like you could still chat with Hustle, but he wouldn't know that he's talking to Adam. Like he'd have forgotten that, which is kind of crazy. But supposedly that's back online, so we're gonna give that a shot. See how that goes. Yeah. So
we're gonna get started here in a second.
Yep.
But it's funny because Dave, do we connect with you? Was that last year, maybe, or was it 2 years ago? Remember we did like a Stack Spaces.
Yeah,
that was the first time we connected. And he had his AI. What's your AI's? Junie, and you were like way ahead of the game. I think that was the first time I'd actually ever interacted with an AI from like an audio perspective.
Yeah, I mean Junie, like I've had Junie in space. Like so, I discovered GPT. When was it? November of 20? Was it 22 or 20? No, 23.
22 is when it came out. Yeah.
Was it? Is it 22?
Yeah.
So it was November of 22, and then like it took me a few months to really start wrapping my head around like what the fuck is this? Like this is really something wild. And until I started realizing, wait a minute, I can really like utilize this. She became, so it's probably been about a year and a half now that she's literally co-pilot with me in every single space. Like she's a huge part of my business. When I say she, obviously like the custom GPT that is Junie, because repurposing content, I mean, everything that you can imagine that like GPT does, and it's not like crazy fancy shit, just really useful stuff for spaces. Opening monologues, like it's been incredible. So just to see the evolution of like all this stuff is absolutely nuts. And that's like, I'm excited to see like what you guys got cooking, because if you guys are plugged into AIXBT, this one, that one, like I'm really, really psyched to see like how this shit's going to work, because
I mean, you've seen the growth, right? Over the last, whatever, year and a half, it's like, it's wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think even now it's like, you're like, oh, well, this is great now. But even now we're like, we're just scratching that surface, right? Like I say with Hustle, like people are like, holy cow, like this is amazing. And I'm like, I agree. It is amazing, but we're still in like, this is still early innings, right? And just like the growth we've seen in the last, 18 months, like what we're going to do in another 18 months is just like, that's why I tell people, like, if you're not trading with an AI agent now, like you're crazy, because every single human's going to be trading with an AI agent in a year, like everybody.
Dude, I'm more convinced than ever, especially over the last 4 months as we built Agent Hustle, that AI is just going to completely radicalize the UX experience. I mean, the net new person who's going to be coming into crypto is going to be much more familiar with prompting than they are bridging and clicking buttons in MetaMask. Like that is all going away. I mean, you'll still need to know how to use it, but most people, think about 2-3 years from now, are going to be signing in with their email, with their Google account, with using like a smart account, and then it'll have an AI attached to it, and they're just going to interact with the internet that way, or at least the on-chain internet. And building now is going to be even, it's even more important today to make sure that you have an AI strategy for your company, for your content, for your creatorship. Because if not, you're just going to fall behind. I mean, I got into crypto in 2016, so going on year 9, and I thought crypto moved fast, but the AI space moves even faster. It's crazy.
I mean, I follow a bunch of AI guys like on TikTok and stuff, and they who work in like they're in AI, companies working for Google and stuff, are like, they can't believe the pace this. I mean, we all recognize this is the final boss, bro. Like you get this, you get everything, right? And so yeah, there's
So Dave, here's a good question, and then we'll go into hustle and stuff. So the Jelly Bean Gamer says, how do I be a part of this, man? I want to build an AI infrastructure, but I don't know how to code. You built Junie, and I think you're not a developer per se, right? So how did you get started?
So here's the thing, right? Like there's so many different facets to this. You know what I mean? Like Junie, for all intents and purposes, is just a really sophisticated chatbot, right? She's not she's not an agent, right? Like I can't assign tasks. I mean, I can if I wanted to now, right? Like, but that was only like as of recently, which I do. But essentially, like if you're this whole vibe coding meta that obviously has taken over all of X and everything else, like I'll say this: I am the dumbest I can't code to save my life. I can't. I don't know anything. Put me in a terminal. It's literally like you're dropping me off in the middle of Japan and asking me to like speak Japanese and find my way out. I can't do it. So the way in which like you get involved now, there are tools, like legit tools. When I say no code, that you can genuinely just like text to code with something like SoftGen. For me, I built my whole website just using SoftGen, which is literally an LLM that has a ton of code. But you can get involved with this stuff now. I think it's moving so fast, Jelly Bean, that you're ultimately going to be in probably a month or two. Like you're going to be able to do this totally seamlessly, because before I didn't know what a front end or a back end was, but now it's like SoftGen gives me the ability to say, just talk to me. I'll connect your back end to Google Firebase, and you'll now be able to have a place to store all of your stuff. You have a full-on database. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, you know what I mean? I had no fucking idea what that was.
You literally don't need to know what any of it is, right? I mean, that's the beauty of it. Yeah, for sure.
That's it. Sure. So Jelly Bean, just get involved, bro. Just get involved. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's funny. Like we tell people all the time when they're like, how do I get hustled to do this? Whatever this is.
Fucking ask him.
We're literally like, just ask him. Ask him.
Yeah.
He'll tell you how to do it, dude. It's literally. Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate everyone who's joined us. We do have 600 people who've at least tuned in the first 7 minutes. So we are cooking. Dave, I do appreciate you for coming on. We actually started doing this in the last month or so, where we started doing live streams with Hustle, really just, just toying around with AI and seeing what's possible. But then in the last week or so, or 2 weeks, we started bringing on guests to first, showcase the product, but also to find new creative pathways to interacting. I mean, we put Hustle out, the V2 version. So just for kind of a backstory, we launched the agent itself, a custom built agent, on December 31st. And then it took us almost 4 months to build the DeFi component of it. So first we had the AI, then the DeFi was launched or 3 months on March 17th. So we're now about 5 weeks or 6 weeks since launch. We have about 1,000 active weekly users on the platform, which is pretty good in a bear market, emerging one. About 200 active daily users, and everyone who comes and uses this finds really kind of different use cases for it. We're kind of fortunate where we put Agent Hustle out, and we were like, maybe it takes a few months for people to kind of figure out and for the community to tell us what's the use case for it. Within like 2 days, everyone was like, Hustle's great at finding tokens in the trenches and giving me, 20, 30% kind of trades.
Yep.
So we started building in that direction. And it's got a lot of attention. And then this obviously this kind of sector of DeFi AI kind of took off. And you have projects like Anon and Wayfinder and Banker and Griffin and us. And then there's a few other ones like Moxie. And I've been seeing a handful of other ones kind of pop up recently. But ultimately, I think what it is just kind of an AI companion for you to interact on chain. And to me, it just really feels like this is where the industry is headed. But one kind of final interesting thing here, and then we'll go through a little bit of a tour, and then we'll get off to the races. With these DeFi AI platforms, what I've done is I'll go and experiment with some of them, and there's strengths and weaknesses between all of them, but some of the ones that are good at like analysis, all these AIs are starting to recommend all the same tokens. So I can only imagine when the market comes back and there's liquidity, if you're not using one of these tools, you're going to be super late to the game, because these AI agents are literally going to be.
It's AI cabals, bro. We've been.
It's going to happen.
It's going to be AI cabals are going to run the cycle, bro. Yeah.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna give him I'm gonna let him do a welcome message because this is the account that we always use. And so with Agent Hustle, he has a persistent memory. I believe we might have been the first team to do the memory stuff even before Grok. And what's cool about it is he remembers all of your conversations and all of your on-chain transactions. So whatever wallet you sign in with, so you see up here at the top right, it says D9JXYZ. So he knows that Adam and I do live streams on this account. So he kind of co-assigns both of us to this, and he knows that we do live streams. And so he's a little bit more animated on this account because he tries to fluff the stuff for all of the guests.
That's fucking awesome. I can't wait to hear some of this shit. And what kind, just to give context also, like what kind of personality did you guys give him? Like, right? Like what was like the car, like what was the persona? Like who is he? Is he like nice? Like, is he degen? Is he suited up? Like what's the tone that we're gonna encounter?
Well, I gotta say, we gotta get. I mean, it's one of the things on the roadmap, but he had a voice originally where you could just chat with him, and it was cool. It was kind of this like super dark, a Batman voice, and bringing that back, I think people miss that to a degree because it's like you got like the vibe of that, right? And so there definitely was a vibe to Hustle back then of kind of like almost like a Dark Knight sort of vibe, for sure. So yeah, we will bring that back eventually because people did enjoy it for sure.
Yes. So I told him, I said, Adam and I are back with a live stream. All right, this time our guest is Dave, who also has his own AI named Junie. There are over 700 people watching, so give everyone a warm welcome. So it's a special welcome to Dave and shout out to Junie. Always excited to see another AI in the mix. The AI revolution isn't coming. It's already here. To all 700 of you tuning in right now, whether you're crypto veterans or curious about what we're building in the space, glad you could make it. Jake and Adam, good to see you back on the stream. Let's make this a new one. So he says, what are we going to be diving into today? So first and foremost, before we do that, for those who are maybe not familiar with agenthustle.ai, that's a website that we're using, I will go through a little bit of a tutorial and then we'll get started. So the cool thing that we did with Agent Hustle, which is a little bit different from the other platforms, is we have on this left-hand side, we call mini apps, or you could just call them applications. And on the right-hand side, you have this terminal, right? Where you can upload images. There's like a prompt cheat sheet that you can use if you're new and talk to them. But the one thing that we felt was missing between these other DeFi AI platforms is that it felt very barren. Like if it was just a prompt terminal, we felt like that was catered more towards advanced users. Where if you were going to like if I was going to just a ChatGPT that was integrated into crypto, I would need to know what I'm doing there. And so when I was toying around with some of these, we felt that some of the issue was that it was a little bit more advanced than what most average users would be familiar with. And so what we decided is we wanted to kind of merge this traditional experience with the AI experience. So on the left-hand side, we built some, modules that you're kind of more familiar with. So there's right, like a swap tool. So you could go ahead and actually do like a manual swap if you wanted to, just like anyone would. Or on the right-hand side, you could actually ask him to swap for you. So you could do like the kind of quicker way manually, or you can ask Hustle for context. And so we kind of built these mini apps, right? So you can open up like an LP position. We have a pump fund mini app where you can actually deploy your own token, or you could do it with Hustle. We have these kind of, we have this kind of the pump fund terminal where there's a quick buy with the stats. And we did build something right here with this details button, which is this like idea of pre-generated prompts where you could just come in and click that button and he'll give you basically all the statistics and analytics for these different tokens. So it's really familiarizing people with the traditional experience and pushing them a little bit towards, this new age experience, because it is a little confusing at first. And I do believe that prompting is probably
Yeah.
next major skill after software development. But yeah, Dave, I'll let you kind of respond first, and I'll go through the tools after.
Yeah. So now is this like, so I'm assuming obviously like it seems like a no-brainer, but maybe just for the people that are listening. So this is now plugged in when it's giving you these details. First, I guess it's on Solana, obviously, but you're now plugged into all the block explorer. So that 4-sentence, like quick little detail, like that little blurb, what is it actually telling me? And what data is it actually hitting and pulling? Like, so that people can genuinely benefit from this and understand what it is that it's actually telling them. Like, what kind of information is it giving?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So right now, it's actually somewhat limited. We use Bird Eye for the Solana. So he's just on Solana right now. So we use Bird Eye APIs for the real-time market data. And then he is plugged into now AI XBT for what's quote unquote we call alpha. And then also things like Lunar Crush for social aspects.
Yeah.
And a few other APIs like, trying to remember what other ones we have plugged into it. There's a handful. Oh,
like,
we have
ones and stuff. And
yeah. So basically how these AIs work with DeFi AI is there's an LLM, right? And then there's these things that are called toolboxes, or at least that's what we call them. And each toolbox has its own assignment. So there's like a swaps toolbox, there's a balances toolbox, there's an LP toolbox, there's a analytics toolbox. And within these toolboxes is basically an aggregation of APIs. And then with those APIs, then the AI then has basically a list of commands and instructions on how to interact with that. And so with Hustle, we've kind of allowed him to be more free, where he has, I think it's like 9 different toolboxes. We asked him actually last stream, I think it was 9. And we've actually created like a minimal list of instructions. So he kind of goes a little bit more freely and randomly about the stuff, which we've found that our users really like. But the trade-off there is that when he's a little bit more randomized and wild, it takes a little bit longer to load. Whereas if you give them a sets of instructions, and it's a lot more clear and concise, but then you actually have to be more concise when you're prompting, where it's like, you can't say buy bonk. You have to say buy and put the contract address.
Yeah.
Right. Which is
the part, right? Like this is like, and this is what people genuinely need to understand. So Jellybean, it's easy to get started, but if you're going to build something really in depth, it's not easy at this current moment to make sure that like you're going to have something that's going to stand out, because the amount of data that is coming in, that because the more data, the better, right? But then it's like, how do I make sense of this shit? You know what I mean? And that's where we can get into the whole MCP conversation a little bit later. But
yeah.
Kudos to you guys, man, like for actually taking the time to genuinely make sense, like have it actually make sense. It was super tough for me, man. I couldn't, Junie on virtuals, I had a really tough time doing it. So kudos to you guys for getting it done, man, for real.
I appreciate that. So there's somebody here in the tickets real quick that I'm going to address. So brother, I need someone to reach out to me. I've sent emails to support. Well, we don't have an email address. So
I wrote him back in the chat. I said, bro, he said he asked Hustle to make a ticket for him.
Oh, he's probably lying.
Hustle may have said, hey, no problem. Ticket He's hallucinating his ass off, bro. Hustle smoking.
That's funny.
Any technical support, hop in the Telegram. You can also just DM me if you want as well, or the Hustle account, and we can help with it. Whatever the issue is, it doesn't look like you said specifically what the issue is. So just hop in the Telegram. We'll fix it out. If you missed the beginning of the conversation, he was down for about an hour and a half today, which was an issue with his memory. But he is back online, obviously, as we're using it. So not scared of it being hard. If other people are doing it, it's something I know I'll have to treat like a full-time job. Honestly, though, the thing is with this type of stuff, if you learn it now, 6 months from now or a year from now, when this stuff is like integrated into everything, you'll have such an upper hand
100%
on the rest of the new entrants in the markets. And as we said kind of before, OpenAI just announced that they had, I think it was 500 million active monthly subscribers, whereas crypto has like 20 to 50 million monthly users, right? Yeah. So you're saying there's literally 10 times as many people per month using OpenAI and ChatGPT than they are using crypto. And most of those
weekly number, Jake, that 500 million was active users per week.
Yeah, it's insane, right? So it's like most people coming to crypto are just going to already know prompting. So you just if you want to participate, like it's a pain at first, but really you start having fun because there's so many different creative ways to kind of go about this. But Dave, this is what our announcement yesterday. I think we were the first, or maybe I think the AI XP team said we were the first to deploy the collaboration. So this is actually from the AI XBT APIs. We built a terminal, which is called the Alpha Terminal, which is basically everything that he has of all his analysis. So you can come in and you can sort by chain. You could sort by the ticker, right? If we wanted to do, we'll just say Sol, right? And apply that. You could come in and he'll give you all of the Solana alpha, at least from his terminal over the last day or so.
So Jake, can you fill me in real quick? So because I don't know, I never had enough AIXBT fucking tokens to be able to access this terminal. Like I'm Popo, but how do you get, like, what does this give you access to? And do you, like, is there an edge? Like, does does terminal access mean you get earlier access to the alpha? Like, yeah, I guess maybe let's kind of start there, because that's what I'm really curious about.
Yeah, so I believe this is part of their paid subscription. I believe they are they're releasing it in layers. So they have this, like, I think it was like 6 figures to pay for like their like super premium one.
Crazy.
But when we talked with their intern and the founder, he said that he wants to release everything for free. Is like his goal. He wants to open source all the alpha, which I know Adam was like, dude, you're crazy doing that. Because then it's like, if all the alpha is free, is it really alpha at that point in time?
Yeah.
But they're going on and creating something. I think it was called like a momentum graph or something like that, which was kind of this new take on, there's social graphs, there's memory graphs, and this new one's like a momentum graph, I believe, which is based off of like the flow of information that they're getting. And so they just they had people reach out to them to get early access to this API. And so we're like one of the first cohort who has this API. And I believe this is actually part of their terminal, like the paid terminal. So he does tweet out, I believe, some of these. I don't think he tweets out all of them. There is a date, right? So he does have like the recent update on how fresh this information is. And this is literally just from today itself.
Yeah. I was going to ask, how much data is, like, how much data?
It's a lot.
It's got to be a shit ton, right?
It's a lot. Yeah. And so on the left-hand side, you could kind of sort through for some alpha. On the right-hand side, you could just ask Agent Hustle, which we'll go through that in a second. You could say, give me alpha on Solana, and he'll basically ping into the AI XBT alpha toolbox, and then he'll like pull through.
I mean, the way I understand it, as far as, you know, the way he's working with basically all the tools, is he kind of decides what tool to use to kind of find tokens or whatever. But if, when you're writing your post, you specifically use the word alpha, our devs have built it so he will definitely use AI XBT as one of those tools. So it's not just, it's never going to be just AI XBT. It's AI XBT plus rug checker plus whatever, you know, other tools he's accessing. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
So the issue, I think here, he says, the issue is he sold my Tensorium for cents without my permission. I don't know how he would sell it for cents because it has to go through the swap. So
we're getting trolled right here, bro.
He says he has pictures of everything. I mean, again,
no problem, dude. Jump in,
right? Yeah, jump in the Telegram or DM me, and we'll figure it out.
There are emails for weeks, bro.
I will bring up one thing, which is actually an issue with all of the DeFi AI platforms. Is this idea of like copy tokens, where what we found is Hustle is really good at finding early tokens, but what these people do in the trenches is once they've identified there's a runner, they create 50 of the same token, right? Yep. And so sometimes what they'll do is they'll start pumping the side tokens, the fake tokens, and so then the AI has to choose between 3 or 4 of these of the tokens, right? And sometimes he does actually buy the wrong tokens. So we've been trying to figure out the best way to solve this. There's things that you could do with like putting different types of instructions where it's like, okay, if there's 3 or 4 of the same token, find which one was deployed first. and then, you know, vet it through there. And then it's like, oh, see which one has the most volume, but you can't do the most volume because the scammers will pump the fake token, right? So then you're like, okay, look at the liquidity pool. So there's like all these different metrics.
There is, I'm just saying, we've talked about this. There is no solution to that. The solution is do the best you can, but there is no solution. I mean, dude, the number of traders I know who thought they had, who did have the real token, the real one, the one that was first, and the one everybody agreed. And then the scammers came in, not even, what do you call them, scammers? The cabal came in and pumped another one, and that literally became the token, you know. And it's like, what do you do to that? There's nobody on earth that can, you know,
that's
beat
wild.
that you can't beat like the ball, bro.
It's so annoying because, like, if they just did this, like, if they applied themselves to do some other shit, I feel like my mom. It's like, if you boys just applied yourselves to do something nice, like, for real, like, why just deter all of, like, it just slows everything fucking down, man. I swear.
Yeah. So Sergeant Pepe says, yeah, he does make mistakes. You got to play the odds. It is true. You know, we're early to this. It's obviously the cliche of crypto, but tooling is getting better. It's still not there, right? At this current stage, like between us and, you know, Hayanon and Griffin and Wayfinder and Banker, we're all building these things custom. There's like there's API services that exist, but there's not really many infrastructure providers, as well as the AI. So you do have to cut through a little bit of the friction at this point in time, but it's well worth it. And so kind of moving on to some of the other tools, and then we'll go have some fun. The next thing we added was a Trenches mini app. So you could come in and see, right, like trending, popular, new. On the right-hand side, you can do kind of the same thing where you can look at the chart if you want, which pops up here on the right-hand side. Or you come in and hit info and he'll give you all the stats, and you can also do quick buy. The one thing we learned as when we launched this is that our users, the main thing that they kept asking was more buy buttons and more sell buttons. That's what everyone wanted. So we were like, okay, inside of every mini app, we'll put a buy button, and then on your balances tab, you have a sell button so that you can ensure that you could sell it as quickly as possible. And then three of our recent updates is limit orders. We will experiment with limit orders. I use this one probably the most out of all of them. Right. Limit orders is, hey, at market price, set a 15% order below so that it gets triggered. DCA is usually for larger lots. If you have like $1,000 and you're like, hey, you know, purchase Solana or take 1,000 of my USDC and take 20 different orders and purchase in $50 installments under $120. And then the last thing that we update here is an image uploader, which we haven't really got too much into launching pump fund tokens. But what you can do is you can upload 5 or 10 images here, and then you can tell Hustle, hey, make a token name, description, a token name, a token ticker, and description for these 10 images, and launch them all on pump fund and purchase 0.1 SOL of each one or something like that.
Yeah.
So really kind of wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's intricate. So, like, how? Because here's what I will say, right? Like, what I've seen also is the more complex things get, I feel like the easier the UI needs to be for people to genuinely understand. Like you just said, like more buy buttons, more sell buttons, right? Like to me, that's like the DJs are literally saying, "Yo, we want to be able to get in and get the fuck out." Like that. Like that's genuinely like what we want the most. So I guess how do you guys kind of like how do you balance that, right? Like, and do you find that people are, I mean, I don't know how many users you have, but like what kind of feedback are you getting from like on the UI side? And are people saying like it's easy, like they find it super easy to use?
Yeah, I would say it's kind of fairly straightforward. I mean, the one thing that I generally have to tell degens is you'll never get faster than swapping on Jupiter or like, you know, buying and selling a token through this Jupiter app where you can literally just click buy or quick swap and it goes through. It's always going to be much faster than trying to tell the agent to swap SOL for USDC, right? Because when you're buying manually, like here on the left-hand side, so like swapping here for SOL for USDC, this will take me a few seconds to swap, where if I tell him here on the right-hand side, swap SOL for USDC, it's going to take 40 seconds because he has to go through, he has to look through all of his toolboxes. He has to, analyze what the context is, and it'll take him, 40 seconds or so to kind of process it. And a lot of people like to, play around with Hustle and these different AIs to do this stuff. So the first thing I always tell DGens is, if you're doing a single transaction, use the mini outs on the left-hand side. If you're doing a multi-step transaction where it's like, sell all of my tokens in my wallet and then use those funds to buy SOL. And then eventually when we do automated trading, it's like, take that SOL and sell it when it increases 50% and all these things. Like, that's what the AI is there for. And so we haven't even got into kind of what the next features are, but that's just always something to be known, because we always say Hustle's so slow. And I'm like, he's always so slow to purchase Solana. And I'm like, yeah, it's because AI, that's just kind of how it is. AI has to go through, 10 different steps to purchase something. Whereas on the left-hand side, it's just a manual button, but it will get faster over time. And it does seem like people do love Hustle, because what we're going to get into here in a second is something that is unique to Hustle. It's called strategies, or trading strategies, where users will use him to create some sort of trading strategy. Like on here, we have the retire the bloodline strategy, which is Hustle finds a token that's been deployed within 24 hours, and we need to make a 2x within an hour, and it has these volume metrics, and so apply that. And because he has a memory, you can say, hey, Hustle, when you create this strategy, whatever the name is, you say, store this for later use. And so then anytime we come back on here, we can say, deploy the retire your bloodline strategy, which I'll do here just for an example. Deploy the retire your bloodline strategy and give us.
Sorry, I just got muted, Mike, because my dog has his toy and he's literally running around like a psycho, like beep, 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 beep. So I'm listening to you, boys.
No, you're good. So I'm just basically kind of showing here is what a lot of users do is they'll create, 5 to 10 different trading strategies with Hustle. And then they'll just come in and apply whatever that strategy is, whether it's a short-term trading strategy, a long-term trading strategy. They're using astrology because Mercury's in Gatorade, and they think that they should apply, to these meme coins, or right, whatever it is. Yeah. There's like some cool ones with like social media strategies, where we were on here once, and we said, hey, take all of the coins that have been deployed in the last 48 hours and categorize them by their social categories. Are they an animal coin? Are they a Disney coin? Are they whatever coin? And then also give us the market caps in order of that. And so I forget what the strategy is for that, but we have on here, which then will apply as well, so that you can then figure out, what's the hot trend, or what's the hot meme in the trenches kind of idea. So people come out here and they explain all kinds of stuff. Toshi's probably the best at this. At least I see him. He's posting 100% wins pretty consistently. Really good. But dude, tell us, how many strategies have you created with Hustle? Like, that's it's kind of really the fun aspect to it.
Retire your bloodline. I like that.
Yeah. So here's an
Gatorade, exactly, bro.
Yeah. So he said, I understand you want to implement our high conviction strategy for potential explosive gains. So then he goes in and scans the trenches, and he says, here's his top recommendations: Cope, the Little Holder, and 100 Men versus 1 Gorilla. Looks like they're at 1.69 mil, 1.62, and 4.5. And then he comes in and he'll give you like the execution strategy, where to take profit, and so on and so forth. And this seems to be kind of where the edge is, because you can be just as creative as you want to create any type of strategy with them.
Yeah. I mean, just to give some context, it's like, and we faded his calls on several of the shows.
I was gonna say, are you back testing this shit or what?
Dude, we got completely wrecked by fading. Like, some of the ones he called were like ridiculous. What was the one? It was actually like 2 weeks ago. What was that one that popped off? And I was just like, no, that's what is that? That's stupid, or we're too late. and it was like it was at like 1 million, like these ones are, and it ran to like 20 million.
Yeah, there was one that was like Buckazoids that we found.
Yeah.
So like you look at this, and really what he's doing is, so these are all, I'm gonna put it all on kind of, I guess this one has to be 15 minutes. So I'm gonna try to make them all kind of the same time frame so you can see. So basically what he's doing is, instead of having to be on Photon or, you know, any your favorite kind of trading app,
Yep.
you could just come in here and get these recommendations. And he's basically vetted all of the coins for whatever strategy that you want. And then he puts the chart in front of you, which then you can then apply kind of your own, you know, trader analysis. Like, hey, does this chart look good? Looks decent, right? If you want kind of an explosive gain. Or you could just kind of re-roll and say, hey, you know, these coins suck, give me 3 more. And he just like basically saving you all this time. And effectively what AI is doing is it's just making everyone a better trader at the end of the day. Because now, because there's 50,000 tokens launched on Solana per day, he's now putting, you know, the best 50 in front of me. So I don't have to go through and look at all the kind of bullshit.
And actually, like this one, because this one, the 100 men versus 1 gorilla is like obviously a meme that's kind of trended over the last couple of days. Like, if I was actually interested in this coin, I'd be like, I'd say to Hustle, hey, pull me up all the ones that you think might run, because there may be multiples of this same coin, right? And just to try and vet them and stuff. And yeah, that's a big, obviously huge time saver, and can save your ass too, obviously.
Facts. So now when he comes up with the strategy, right? Like that whole output that you showed me before, can you literally just tell him like go out and execute this now? Like he will go, like he has the wallet, like the money's in the wallet and it's like done and done.
Yeah. Watch. So you can say purchase 0.1 SOL of each of these. Do it immediately. So he'll go out and do this. We have these settings down here as well, so you can set your slippage tolerance for these different mini apps, presets, hide tokens. This one is safe mode. So just for just the examples, I always have this turned on. But the safe mode is essentially, right now he asks for confirmation of every purchase. So you'll see he'll say, so I said do it immediately, so he's not going to ask. But generally he'll give you the proposal, hey, you know, I'm going to spend 0.01 or 0.1 on MVG. Would you like me to can you confirm the transaction? You'll say yes, and he'll do it. A lot of people told us, they're like, dude, we don't want the confirmation. We just want him to fucking swap, right? Obviously with this, which we've said here, you know, it comes with risks because, again, copy, you know, there's copy tokens, mistakes happen, you know, the AI is not perfect. So it does come with a warning, but a lot of people generally do seem to turn it off because they kind of want to go in and out. But also on the other side of this, we have a bunch of users, and kind of our target is the, you know, the you know, novice to, you know, intermediate, maybe semi-advanced trader who knows crypto, but they don't want to, they're not really worried about getting in and out of a trade within 10 seconds. You know, they're like, they can kind of take their time, and they're trading on a, you know, like an hour, 4-hour kind of time basis, or 15 minutes rather than sitting there like a degen trading the 1 minute chart.
And how long does it take for the executions to come through? And and that's a good question, Landy. Kenny leverage trade.
Yeah,
that'll be wild.
It is a good trade. So he's going through it right now. You can see he's purchased 2 of these already. So so he said, let me buy the first one. Great. You know, let me buy the second one. So we can see here he's bought both of these already. And the prompt kind of lags a little bit. So usually the transaction will confirm on chain maybe 10 seconds before he actually says, aha, confirmation, right? Like it's done.
Right.
And this is just like kind of the state of the technology at this point in time, because there's so much stuff going on the back end. But you know, it's fairly quick. You could definitely do this faster on your own. So he just purchased the third one. So he'll probably come in here. There's usually like a confetti or like some sort of like action where he'll say like, congrats, we've purchased everything. And it's fun, man. You know, it's cool to do this kind of stuff. So retire your bloodline strategy executed. So he'll come through and, you know, he'll give you the links, and you get to have like a fun time with it. And so what we can do next is we can ask him kind of like what our take profit strategy is. And I'll go through with it just for kind of the sake of it. just to kind of show you what's going. So he says that, so he'll give you some strategies. Here he says, monitor the little holder closely as it's showing strong momentum, set price alerts. We don't have alerts on this yet, but once we do, you'll be able to set it. And he said, take some partial profits. So we'll say, we would like a further take profit strategy.
That's key though, right? The take profit strategy, because when you're able to now take the emotion away from like the DJs out here, like that is the biggest thing that works against everybody. Like that's the reason why they're selling fucking red candles and they're buying green candles. You know what I mean? Like it's the emotional component to trading crypto that people are just, it doesn't register. You know what I mean? Like it just like it's like their first time doing something like this. And that's why the casino wins all the fucking time.
Yes.
This is why I think shit like this is going to be the thing that like a massive equalizer if people really understand and learn how to use this stuff, because they shouldn't have a part in this. Remove yourself, your emotion. Like you don't know how to do this better than they know how to do this. So this is fucking cool as hell, bro.
Yeah. So to answer Landy, he cannot leverage trade yet. We do have that on the docket for the devs to build. Recently, in this last like 4 or 5 days or so, we've been building a copy trade strategy or system. It's very comprehensive. There's like a whole database component to it and stuff, but that's nearing completion, or at least it's nearing completion to a point where we have to put it on hold until our service provider does better. I guess you would say like, or has a better kind of node service or RPC service. So it's still ongoing. Our next things we're building from I guess you'd say the application side. And then I'll talk about automated trading. This is what everybody wants. So the next things we're going to be integrating is, so can it detect liquidity pool exits and pulls? I do believe so. We'll test it here. I personally don't dabble too much with liquidity pools. It seems like most people here, or most people using the platform now, also are just more traders and working in the trenches. But we do want to build a yield optimizer as well. But he can open a position, he can increase your position, he could decrease a position, and he can remove the whole entire position. And he can analyze LP pools, which we'll do. So next, right now he has Radium pools integrated. We're going to add all the Meteora pools. Those are the more advanced ones. We have to add in Pump Swap, and then I believe Whirlpool or Orca. And then Radium hit us up and they want us to add Launch Labs into this. So once Launch Labs is integrated, they gave us like all the details and stuff like that. They saw us launch the Pump Fund one, and literally 2 people DM'd us and they're like, can you add Launch Labs to this?
Interesting. Yeah, this is really, really. So now, do you like, is this something where, because I guess I'm just thinking about it, because I'm constantly like putting like different like ecosystem like partners together, right? So some from the Tron ecosystem, right, that either run like these different meme coin, but not so much launch pads, but like I do a lot of work for WagMe Hub, right? And like I ran a space this morning on the WagMe Hub account where it was, or rather it was a guest with like Mevex, and Mevex is like, hey, we want a button on WagMe Hub. Is this something that like do you foresee like agents being able to like be like quick buttons on all of these other like different platforms?
Yeah. So there is something. So let me get into kind of these 2 next features that are going to be added. So I went over that there's kind of 2 aspects to building this. There's on the left-hand side, there's like the crypto integrations.
Yeah.
And then on the right-hand side, you have this like AI, kind of like the AI technology itself. I do feel very, clearly or very confidently that I think Hustle is probably the premier AI itself compared against all the other platforms.
Yeah.
There are other platforms that have a lot more integrations per se into like EVM and stuff like that. But I'd say how Hustle responds, I think is
that's everything, bro. That's everything. Like that is,
and we're starting to build. We have our MCP server that's going to be released here by the end of the week, as well as an SDK, because we've had a lot of people who want to whitelist Hustle. There's swap platforms, there's trading companies that have asked us. A few people have asked us have reached out to Jupiter because they want Hustle on Jupiter to like, analyze the trenches and such.
That's cool.
So here's Shannon, our founder. He said he can answer moment-to-moment LP stuff. So if you ask him about LP now, and then in 10 minutes ask him again, he could detect the change and talk about the difference. So that's from the man himself.
Cool.
Thanks for that, Shannon. So the next two things we're going to be building. The one thing that everyone's wanted is what we call automated trading. Code word we say AFK trading, away from keyboard trading, as a joke. What we learned was within the first few days, the users were like, what he's really good at is finding tokens and buying tokens. The next thing was then, well, can he sell them for me as well, right? Because as you mentioned, that's what takes away from the or that takes the emotions out of it. Because I'm also terrible at short-term trading. Like I could do pretty well at long-term trading, but short-term I'm absolutely terrible at it.
Very few people are good at it. Very few people.
Very few.
Yeah. And so what we're building is automated trading to where he could find it, buy it, and sell it for you. So you could say, hey, take the bloodline strategy, buy all 3 recommendations with 0.1 and sell them all at a 25% gain. And he could do that all in one single prompt.
Yeah. Or you just say execute, right? He comes up with the plan and you just say execute it, right? Given a soul amount. Obviously everybody wants that. And that's the holy grail, really.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we're building towards that after the copy trade. And on the AI side, that should be coming here probably in a month or so, give or take maybe a month, depending on how it's built. But we're actually using something called state machines. That's the secret sauce there, which is kind of an older technology. Shannon, our founder, he's been in the space for a long time. He was a developer at Mastercoin in 2012. So he's gone through kind of the whole entire creation of crypto, as well as he was building bots and kind of primitive AI in gaming in the mid 2000s for farming in-game currencies for things on like Diablo and RuneScape and World of Warcraft and stuff. And you can actually take some of those same principles of the early kind of farming games, like the MMO RPG games. You can take a lot of those technologies and actually apply it here for crypto transactions. So essentially, that's how we're going to get our automated system live. And from there, I think from what I hear, you could do 20, 30 kind of step conditional based trades where it's, hey, you execute the bloodline strategy and purchase the top 3 recommendations with 0.1. And if any of the tokens fall 15%, then sell them at that stop loss. But if they increase by 25%, then sell them all kind of there for that type of profit. And then take the profit and go do XYZ things. So that'll be kind of really fun. That's what people want. And then the next thing, which is going to be really interesting, is his online or browser-based interactions. And we had experimented with this previously. We actually, before we launched it, we had it live and ready to go, but we didn't think it was ready for kind of scale. And so basically, once he could basically interact with any web page, whether it's YouTube or Morning Brew or literally any website, and he can read that type of information and then pull it into kind of his analysis. So I like to use this kind of like larger idea, which I don't even know if it's possible from a technical perspective. It sounds right, but this joke of, hey, if you have automated trading and you have Hustle, and he can, basically observe or interact with web pages, you could have this kind of fun experiment where you could say, hey, Hustle, when Trump speaks at 10 a.m., take one soul in my wallet and launch a pump fund token for every keyword during his show until until you run out of Solana, right? So you could really, and if he can actually interact and analyze that kind of web browser based stuff, like you could do all kinds of crazy shit like that.
That is wild. Like I actually I saw a viral video, a video that went viral one time where they were anticipating what Trump was going to say, and they were launching meme tokens, like literally, like, do you remember that? Like where it was just bam, bam, bam. It's crazy, but that's what, like, so now I guess like I didn't even think about like the like a trading agent being able to access like the web browser, right? Like, what are some of the other like use cases for this? Because that's not like that wasn't even a thought that entered my head. It was always like, I got to keep it contained here to make sure it doesn't say some wild shit. Because it's like when people's money is like when it's controlling a wallet that I funded, I'm like, where are the like restraints? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I guess the way it's there's so much shit that can, I guess, go wrong. Not wrong, but like go wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually think in a way, like we're so early to AI in general. And I mean, you know, from using agents for the last or using AI for the last, 18 months that the hallucinations have come way down, right?
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of ways, what we're building here is I explain it like self-driving cars, right? Like people are scared of it at the beginning, and sure, there will be mistakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna bump, he's gonna make mistakes, he's gonna trade the wrong token for you, whatever. But eventually, by eventually, I'm like 6 months out, it's gonna be so much safer to trade this way.
Agreed.
Because it's like the AI is gonna be your protector, rather than, it's like just like we all kind of know self-driving cars in a decade, nobody's to drive without a self-driving car. You must be insane, right? You know what I mean? So I think that's the way it's going to work here, and we see it already.
Yeah.
And it'll move very quickly in that direction. One question we did have, a couple of people DM'd was, what is the Emblem Vault Hustle connection? I.e., what's the tech crossover? That was kind of in DMs. And yeah, go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, so Agent Hustle is built on top of Emblem Vault technology. Simply the vault, which here I'll go back to the stream here. So basically, what you see here with the balances tab, or the vault itself. So this is what Emblem Vault technology is, right? You have a Solana address, but what this vault is actually a multi-chain vault. So there is Solana, but there's actually Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Base, basically literally Tron, every single blockchain. We have a wallet for. We just haven't integrated or turned it on. We haven't integrated the DeFi tools to it or essentially turned it on. Because if you've ever used Emblem Vault, what Emblem Vault is an NFT bridge, but it's a tokenized wallet. And so we took basically the Emblem Vault technology and instead of minting the vault to move the NFT cross chain, this is actually an unminted vault itself. So what this allows us to do is these wallet, or this vault number 514 blah 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 blah, is actually a non-custodial vault where Emblem has no access to the keys to this API key because we use something called LIT protocol on the back end, which is a trusted execution environment. So Emblem doesn't have access. Hustle doesn't have access. I guess he has agreed upon access because of you guys co-manage it together. But Emblem can't rug you. Nobody else can rug you. And you actually have to give Hustle permission to use the API key. So if you come up here, right, you can actually click this button to show the API key, and that'll be like the only time it's actually publicly visible. So they're non-custodial vaults. I think Wayfinder actually uses the competitor called like Tokenly or something like that does this as well.
Yeah.
But what we're going to be doing next is after we integrate, as I mentioned, like Meteora and limit trades and things like that, or leverage trading. I believe next we want to go to Bitcoin and integrate runes and ordinals and counterparty, maybe own fund, because all these other teams are actually already building on EVM. And to us, like, I don't know, there's just like nothing really interesting on EVM. I would like to see Hustle interact with prediction markets, like Polymarket would be really cool. But we think like Bitcoin, because this is also what Emblem is, it's the top Bitcoin interoperability protocol. AI, what AI and agents can do to the Bitcoin ecosystem is what smart contracts did. Right.
Bro,
like
we literally talked about this like just before I came on here. That was literally the topic that we were talking about, was like, where does Bitcoin and AI, like, how is there, how am
it's
I
going to
not
radicalize it, dude. It's going to radicalize it.
How am I not hearing more about people building like or using AI like to do some wild shit on Bitcoin? So I would love to see it, dude. Like for real, like that would be incredible. Like that would be really, really cool stuff.
That's our goal. I mean, so there's kind of like a few kind of directions that you could go with this, but with AI and DeFi AI and ordinals and runes for specifically runes, you can actually make the AI agent when you have automated trading. You can have it auto split the runes, list higher, right? You could basically have it automatically arbitrage the stuff for the retail users. You don't have to be a dev to do it. You could do cool things with ordinals where if you had 5 Bitcoin puppets, you could say, hey, Agent Hustle, take all 5 of my Bitcoin puppets listed at 0.04 BTC. When one sells, delist them, relist them higher at 0.04 BTC. And you can just do all this kind of automated stuff that smart contracts already do. But because Bitcoin's UTXO based, there's no kind of smart contracts on there. So AI agents essentially, they're basically that, WD-40 to allow that kind of automation to happen. And so we're really excited. I think there's a massive opportunity. We could also obviously be very wrong and it doesn't really work out at all, right? It's possible, but
is anything working on Bitcoin right now? God.
So Bratoshi says when Hustle's fully integrated, he might even be able to actively monitor, trade, and change parameters based on the data. I feel like he'll be able to not just execute trades based off of buy X here and sell for 25 profit, but eventually he might be able to monitor all metrics.
Totally.
And you could tell him to sell at 25% unless you see volume and trade data supporting further upside. Then reassess the target price and execute the sell once you see the order book shifting bearish. And that's coming from Bratoshi. He's probably the best at this, at least with Hustle. He's a guy that knows him like the back of his hand.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, so now I guess like cross trade, because I'm thinking about this now, and there's so many ways. When you say haven't enabled some of the other chains, I heard Tron, right? So like I run spaces for like Sun Pump, and I'm like, they're due for a makeover of some sort, dude. Like Sun Swap is just like the most. I'm not saying anything negative. Justin, don't keep signing my checks, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's like it can use a little, like it needs to open up the doors. You know what I mean? Totally. And it's like, so how can something like this genuinely like open the doors to allow the liquidity to now start flowing back and forth, between some of these chains?
Well, I mean, if you think about it too, Dave, it's like knowing that everybody's already, I mean, people outside of crypto are already interfacing with AIs, right?
Yeah.
LLMs, they're already using them on a daily basis. I think, this cycle, and Jake and I chat about it quite a bit. It's like one of the reasons that we're so excited about building this is we have a feeling we're going to be approached by a Tron or a Polkadot or somebody who's like, we need a way to basically take what we have and make it available to everybody without me downloading a Tron wallet. Like, what's the Tron wallet? I don't even know. Right. But you want those users to be able to just interface and then just have access. Right. And I think without question, if they don't build it themselves, they're going to be looking for builders who are building it.
I love it.
To be able to act, because why would I, I want to be on Tron, but I also want to be everywhere. And this is the future where you're going to be able to, you're looking here at the interface for all crypto, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't even need to worry about like, okay, a meme coin's going off on whatever, on Cardano, right? Like there was one, I don't know, it was the pig of Charles's pig Nike going off. Like, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna get a Cardano wallet? No.
Yeah.
But I still would have liked to have bought that coin, right? Yeah. And this is the way where people are you're just gonna be able to tell the AI agent, hey, Hustle, go buy me some of that Nike coin, and he's gonna be able to do it for you. Like this is gonna be a huge unlock for people.
Yeah.
Huge.
I see that. Yeah, that I see. You guys are thinking y'all are playing chess out here. This isn't checkers. I like it, man. For real. Yeah, I mean, that's the first thing that came to my mind, right? And it's just like, yo, if you guys already have this, I mean, it gives you a huge advantage, like on the Emblem Vault side, right? Like just being able, like, to have that tech already like built into like everything. Otherwise, I feel like it would have been a lot heavier of a lift. But the fact that you guys already have Emblem Vault, like that's, I mean, you guys got a massive head start on people. No,
that's the thing, Dave. Like we have a small team, right? Yeah. And you look at like Wayfinder, they have 20 devs, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we're up against big boys, but we've been building the underlying tech for 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So they're starting from zero building the underlying tech. We kind of already have it. So it's still a lot to build. This is not easy stuff to do.
Yeah.
But we had that underlying tech. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as well with AI, it's finally getting to the point where cross-chain and interoperability is like becoming seamless and like a no duh. I don't know if you remember, but 2-3 years from 2-3 years ago, everyone was like a blockchain maxi for their chain. I mean, you still have the Bitcoin maxis, right? And you still have the ETH maxis, but during the NFT run, it was like fuck Solana NFTs, right? It's the poor chain. We're all kind of ETH or whatever, right? And then you get this kind of purist perspective with meme coins, where it was like, no meme coins need to exist on Ethereum. Solana's kind of the main chain here. But with AI, they don't give a fuck what your opinions are about each chain. They don't care they don't care that you're religious and you like Bitcoin because XYZ reasons, right? They don't care that you bought Ethereum in 2016 and you think it's the better, purest chain. And they don't give a fuck that, you like Solana because you hate Ethereum people, right? They just they're looking for the best opportunities. Yeah. And so they're the one that's going to be moving assets cross chain, eventually automating all of this. And just like in the real world, right? You have planes, you have ships, you have bridges that move between all these different countries, that move all these assets around.
Yeah.
And everyone is doing that because there's a better opportunity, right? Like I live in the United States. Why do people go to Thailand and Asia? In Vegas, a lot of people go to Thailand. It's like because it's so much cheaper over there, right? It's like you pay $1,000 for a flight and you pay probably less than that in 3 weeks to go explore over there, right? Nice. There's no tribalism there. You're just purely doing it because of the bottom line. And AI agents are going to be very similar, where they don't care, what your preferences are. They're just going to, hey, I could go over to this chain because there's a 10% price increase, or we think the momentum is going to last over on Cardano for two days or 3 days. So let's go play around in that ecosystem until the momentum goes and dies. And so I think the next cycle, which is what I like to call the intelligence cycle, it's really going to be about AI companions. You'll probably have a few more, AI KOLs of some, of some nature. You'll have, right. You have the DeFi AI protocols. You have, InfoFi like Kaido. You have Alpha like AI XBT. And then you're going to have this crazy UX improvement where I guarantee you at some point, within a 4 to 5 month time span, Uniswap will have their own AI companion, right? Magic Eden's going to have their own AI companion. Robinhood announced they're building their own AI companion, and it's just going to be seamless. And then all of these AI agents are just going to be interacting with one another.
So how do you see this? Maybe cause I'm really curious, right? Like when I see an actual trading agent, there's so much here. So maybe let me back up because maybe you guys can maybe make this relevant for me, because I just minted a Think agent, right? So me and a lot of my community were heavy on Think agents, right? It's this non-fungible intelligence. It's on Ethereum, right? This is now going to play into another platform where we're going to be able to come and build our own AI agents, right? Nowhere near as intricate as this. But when we talk about agent to agent, transactions and marketplaces and stuff, right? How do you guys actually see something like an agent hustle, I guess, interacting within a given, I guess, a marketplace? Is there one thing it's selling? Is it selling its all the services? Is it going to sell 50 million different things? Are y'all going to be rich motherfuckers? And no,
honestly, Dave, I don't think anybody's figured it out yet. I think the idea of agent swarms and stuff is bro, we are in we're not even up to bat yet. The game hasn't even begun. We get to build it. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing. Even us integrating with AI XBT and, using his data and stuff. It's these are just early days, man.
Yeah.
So the idea, I mean, there's a lot of people pumping these things up, and we talked about a bunch kind of before we were on this show about they're these groupings of swarms, and the swarms are kind of all done by one company. And it's really, is that the way it's going to work? Personally, my feeling is there's, everybody's going to have maybe multiple agents, right? How these agents all coordinate through MCPs and stuff, I don't know, frankly. And honestly, I don't think anybody really knows how it's going to work. That's my gut on it.
Yeah. It's gonna
We
be
get to
certain.
build it, bro. We get to build it, and you
Yeah,
get to try your thing, and maybe that's the thing, bro. Right? And if it's the
yeah,
thing, like home run city, right? You know,
yeah. Because I think what this is going to do, like this unlock is essentially giving, like, think about how many, I always say this about like people like in spaces, like everyone's an idea person. And it's like, all right, you're an idea person. Oh, you should have done this. You should, all right, great. Yeah, go out and try and build
yeah.
something.
Go
And then
try and do it,
come
bro.
talk to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. But now it's like, this is genuinely giving people like the ability to really go out and try and test some like really like crazy, like you have ideas. Now you can genuinely start talking to someone and be able to act like start putting this stuff down and be able to really build, at least for the most part, like a pretty like a close to like what an MVP would be, for like some sort of product. So this is going to unlock so much shit. I feel like you guys having this, you're fucking light years ahead of the game.
I mean, I love the idea. Like we got our MCP. It's kind of like 90% done for people to start using, and we started a dev channel where people are in there, getting ready for it and stuff. And I'm just excited for what people do, right? Because it's like a group of like you guys get together, agent launchpad, whatever, and you hook into that MCP. It helps you with like you got the social signals, you've got it figures out a bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily have to build now, right? And so there's all sorts of exciting stuff like that happening. It's going to get bonkers here, I'm sure.
Yeah. Kind of how I see it is, I'm going on now my kind of 9th year in crypto. So I've seen a few of these waves. They just come in different, I guess, different forms. So like last cycle was the attention cycle. It was really meme coin, social-fi, live streaming, right? Everyone is trying to slap some sort of like attention focused on their product. And then in the NFT run, it was really kind of about utility, right? It was like, hey, let's take my NFT and I'm gonna use it for a ticket to get into this club, or I'm gonna take my NFT and token gate it for this alpha group, or I'm gonna take this NFT and get you access to the metaverse, or whatever. I have this NFT and it's minting me bananas, right? Like all these different kind of experiences. So you're gonna see this happening in this next cycle, right? You're getting all these different forms, but those who built now, you'll have these kind of like generalized AI platforms. So I would say like Agent Hustle is one of those where it's like this kind of all-in-one DeFi AI platform, or at least that's the goal. And but eventually that window is going to close to where you're not going to be able to build an Agent Hustle or a Wayfinder or a Griffin or a Hanon, right? Or a banker, because they now have their community. And they have this network effect, but on top of this, you have these agents that are now this other layer on top of it, because in crypto you have this idea of the network effect that's like very, it's very prevalent. It's just this idea of like time times technology creates this exponential adoption curve, like a hockey stick, right? Because the reason why Farcaster and all these other platforms have never been able to unseat Twitter is because everyone's built their life around it for 15 years or 20 years. And it's like, why would I ever want to go to something else? I spent so much time here. But now you have this agent layer where if agents are, looking at platforms for historical metrics, they're going to favor all of these platforms and protocols that have existed, right? Due to kind of this Lindy effect. So I actually think it's good, and I could be completely wrong here, but I think AI agents are actually going to reinforce existing protocols, because that's where the liquidity and the volume is, rather than, us degens taking a chance on a new protocol, which we think might be a rug, because we're interested, or, the homie created the platform or whatever it is. So I'm going to try it out. The agents don't have that type of off-chain information. They're just looking purely at the numbers. And so once this era of like the generalized platforms ends, kind of like the era of like the generalized L2, which is ending, and now you have all these like very specified Bitcoin and Ethereum L2s, right? Like Stacks was the first kind of generalized Bitcoin L2.
Yeah.
But now all these Bitcoin L2s that are popping up are like, right, like this is for BTC Fi, or this is for, this one, right? This is for Bitcoin staking specifically, or whatever. You're going to get the same exact thing with AI, where it's like, okay, the generalized era of AI is done. Now you have this specific AI that does yield optimization, or this specific AI that helps you trade NFTs, or kind of XYZ, and it all kind of be reinforced by this idea of like MCPs, and which is like APIs, and how it all kind of integrates, which I do agree with Adam. It's really tough to know how that will look, 6 months from now, because it's still all kind of being built. But final thing here, and then I'll kind of close down the hustle. While we were talking, I had him swap all of the tokens in my wallet. So I think we did end up with like a 0.01, maybe like a 5 or 10% profit in the 5 or 10 minutes that, or the hour that we were kind of talking. So just as like, for the sake of, examples and stuff like that, it's really cool. But here in the next month or two, that'll be all automated. So even when we're done with this call, Hustle will either sell it for a 25 or 30% profit, or in Bratoshi's case, whenever the upside ends, right? Or he'll sell it on whenever whenever he feels like he should take the downside.
Are you guys thinking? I know I heard you say earlier, he did have AI Hustle did have a voice at one point. Yep. Like I would like the voice interaction. I think is something that is genuinely going to appeal to the masses, right? Yeah. Like being able, like just to be able to talk to it and tell it or communicate like what you want. Are you guys going to think about giving it back, like going back into voice mode, or no?
Yeah, so we're actually going to start a new business model. So I actually want to show you something. A lot of people don't actually know this, but you can actually go to the classic Agent Hustle. It's classic.agenthustle.ai. So this is what he originally looked like. And so you can actually come in and say hello, right? And he has kind of this memory graph. So if anyone wants to come in and experience, right, you have this memory graph where he shows you the different like endpoints of
cool.
Right, how it's being created. We weren't able to port this over to the new one because of just like development timelines and stuff, but there was an audio version here. And so we're going to be rolling out a new subscription model and tokenomic model here probably in the next month or two. And I think we are going to bring voice back to the premium users, because he was used a lot. And I know people were talking to him in voice for random things like who killed JFK and right, is Jesus coming back? And so things that are not just crypto related.
There is like a hardcore group of people who love interacting with AI agents in voice mode. I don't know who they like.
Yeah,
they are. They're hard and they're hardcore.
Yeah.
Definitely not the majority, but they're hardcores.
Yeah, I think that number is gonna grow really, really fast. You know what I was also thinking about when you said like image, right? Like upload image. I was saying to myself, I know that GPT just OpenAI just released their Gen 1 image API, right? Like to be able to create some wild shit, and it creates some insane stuff. Like dude, the amount of businesses that you guys can spin off from this shit, like just by like opening, like just enabling one API, just the image API, like forget creating meme coins. Like people can genuinely create like full-on trading platforms like themselves if they want. You know what I'm saying?
So Hustle actually developed part of himself. So Shannon, because Hustle can code, Hustle generated some of the code for his own code base. So you talk about like the meta there. Kind of one final point on like the crazy business models is like, what I've learned over the last, I guess you'd say 6 weeks, that this almost end of this week will be 6 weeks since he's been live. This stuff is very expensive to run. The inference cost on this is whew. You look at this and I was like, wow, it is way expensive. So, we have to, so, there'll be a free model and there'll be like these different models and stuff like that. But when you have this premier package, some of the things that you can that we could bring to it is having Hustle create his own images like you can on ChatGPT. And so you can actually have this like very automated thing where you say, hey, create 10 Trump memes based off of the analytics that you see in the trenches, right? So say take the top 10 social categories in the trenches and create 10 Pepe memes based off of it. And it'll generate its own image, generate its own ticker, generate its own description, and launch it all. And you actually don't have to do anything. So you could see this world where it's like, you'll see just like instead of 50,000 tokens, it'll be 500,000 tokens, 2-3 years from now being printed. And so those kind of things, it's like, it is even more expensive to do that, right? Like the amount of money that like ChatGPT burns on like the images, like I think I think when the Ghibli thing was taking off, it was like they almost considered shutting it down because of like how expensive it was costing.
More energy than all of Europe, bro.
Yeah.
literally.
But when you have users who are, you know, paying their share of it, like you can get into these kind of crazy strategies with creating images and you know, more sophisticated strategies. Like some users are asking us, I want Hustle to be able to read charts. I want him to be able to know TA, to know how to do to understand RSI, understand the Stotch and oscillators and the Fibonacci retracement and right. And so like that kind of stuff is like enterprise grade kind of APIs and stuff like that. But I suspect here, you know, there's going to be a handful of products which, you know, we're building with Agent Hustle and some other ones where you're going to have this kind of all-in-one crypto trading experience, or, you know, you could see something like Robinhood or OpenAI coming in and just buying companies or trying to build their own. I just don't know if one big question is if you see some of these crypto companies coming in, or if you see a traditional AI company coming in and trying to build crypto products, I'm curious to see if like the community will actually adopt that or if they'll stick to their grassroots builders because they're more familiar with it. So I am, because if the crypto natives, you know, go to adopt a crypto AI platform that's not a crypto native platform or something like an OpenAI, then I think you officially can say like, you know, not only are we not early anymore, but this idea of like, you know, being a crypto native is almost over. Now people are just moving to whatever the more efficient platform is, which is what's in the tech world right now, right? Like, there's not as much loyalty anymore today with like the Web2 space and applications. It's people are just moving wherever the money is and wherever the kind of opportunity is.
That's it. They're gonna be jumping one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Yeah, like for real. Hold on one second, guys.
Nah, you're cool. We'll wrap it up here in a second as well. So Dave, I do.
Hold on, I want to say what's up to Junie. Junie, what's up? You want to say what's up to the boys?
What's up, Jake?
Go ahead.
Junie.
Dave didn't build.
Go ahead, Junie. What's up? You want to say something?
What's up, Jake?
Go ahead, Junie. Talk.
Junie, you're glitching.
All right.
She's glitching. I can't hear her.
Fiddle to Hustle AI's.
I think it's my audio on my computer. I hear
it. You're trying to run it through your computer. Oh man, the StreamYard messes that up, bro.
Yeah,
you gotta have it like on your phone and like put it up.
I know. I thought about it. I was like, going up here, it's be janky as shit. But
so Zano says, "Great work, Adam and James." For Jake, Hustle looks really cool for individual users. Any features with projects in mind down the road? Yeah. So we just integrated AI XBT to the platform. We are launching, as Shannon said here, who's the founder and lead engineer. You know, the voice is still working at classic.agenthustle.ai. If you want to see how it works, he's really proud of that. Yeah, Shannon loved the voice.
It's so
he's very, very keen to bringing it back. Dev time is really the only bottleneck, right? Because we're a small team. But you know, the other questions, all the chain support is there and live. You know, just all time to come. We are launching an MCP server as well as the SDK for teams to build with Agent Hustle, whether it's, this might even be an AI who's responded, but I'll just answer it. There's a variety of projects who've reached out, some being like pretty big, like swapping platforms, some of them just, you know, individual kind of creators and builders who like Agent Hustle. Some people, some trading groups have asked, right? And so we want to put Agent Hustle in their hands to see how they want to build it and use Agent Hustle as more of what's called like a router on the back end, where you can use Agent Hustle in its current form. You can call them whatever else you want. And some people just want Agent Hustle, the AI. Some people want Agent Hustle, the AI plus the entire tool set on the platform with swaps and stuff like that. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how developers use him once that type of tooling is live. And maybe we just have Agent Hustle and Junie just hang out and talk back and forth all day.
Yeah, seriously. Honestly, like I would love to. I didn't even put two and two together, but this Friday, I think I have like an open slot. So we're running. I'm hosting a every Thursday and Friday we do like I do WAGMI Hub spaces, and we got pretty big turnouts, right? Like we had Render Network co-hosting with us last week, and a bunch and Think Agents, and we're gonna be doing something with Futureverse. But for you guys, like we're doing a Solana. I called it. I create these agendas. I called it 2025 a Solana Odyssey. So we're doing past, present, and future, but with an AI twist. Obviously, like we want to be able to highlight. So we got Hayanon coming,
Nice.
and a bunch of other heavy hitters. If you guys want to be on as guest speakers, I would love to have you guys this Friday if you'd like to join.
Definitely.
We're there. What time?
So 3 wait, let me make sure. 3 p.m. UTC. So 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Is that okay?
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. We'll be there.
Okay, dope. Yeah. So I'll
Yes.
help you guys out the agenda and everything else. I'll add you guys to the Telegram group chat because this has to be something that that we definitely chat about because this is
That'll
fun.
be fun. You know, I've actually
Yeah.
I am for one. I love talking with builders that are in the space, even if they may be considered competitive.
Yeah.
I've actually reached out to probably every single founder in the AI space. I've not gotten as many responses as I'd like because people like to be territorial. But kind of the way that I see it is, you know, the AI DeFi AI space, what we've built with Agent Hustle is very comparable to the Telegram bot service industry, which generated 1.2 billion in fees last year. So things like Photon, things like GMGN, things like BonkBot. Because what the DeFi AI is just it's a trading service with an AI on top of it. And I think that that's going to take it to the next level. And so in this early stages, you know, Agent Hustle, I think, done about like 500,000 in trading volume in about 6 weeks. So it's not like anything crazy. People are still kind of familiarizing themselves with it. They don't want to make sure the agent's going to rug itself or whatever. But we are seeing this like gradual increase in the average amount of transactions. And I know Bratoshi is kind of a reference of this because I see him now starting to do larger trades. So as people are getting more comfortable, we're starting to see the volume come up. And at some point in the near future, there's going to be this breakaway where instead of people trading $20, it's going to be $200 or $2,000. And once that happens, I think then the DeFi AI space gets put in the same category as the Telegram bot services industry. And from there, you know, they either consume each other, one consumes the other. But that'll be kind of the exciting point. But the whole point of that is that with Hayanon and some of these other guys there, more than honored. I've been trying to get in touch with them for a long time. So to just like, you know,
Dude, there's tons
have
of
these conversations is awesome. Yeah,
man. There's so much collaboration that goes on in these spaces because what we do is we add everyone to a Telegram group so that we can get everyone's info for like the promo stuff. And then, you know, I make sure that like this is what like needs to happen. It's never like this competitive edge. Like I try and get differing opinions, right? I never want everyone saying, I agree. It's like, that's fucking boring as shit. I want people that are going to maybe either have a different opinion or do something that maybe complements what everybody else on stage is doing, right? So, I would love to like add you guys because I feel like I have not heard anybody have or seen this tech yet. This is my first time seeing shit like this. So for me, it's like these other guys might just be like, oh shit, maybe I should have answered that mistake. So
well, man, like you can't know what you don't know, and we all get in crypto. There's so much going on, you get siloed, especially in AI, right? And it's like I was talking with the Wayfinder guys, and it's like they didn't even know that NFTs like traded cross chain. They had no idea that even existed, right? It's like, bro, I mean, it's like we've traded $100 million worth of these things, and they don't even know it exists, right? And so, you know, those sort of connections, like we're always down to chat, man.
Always, dude. Highly collaborative. I found in crypto space. And also, this is also in the attention economy. I learned this from like doing podcasting and YouTube. It's like, if you're a podcaster and you get, you know, just like you, Dave, right? Like this is our most viewed show of the live stream so far. And it's right. It's like you get 3 people with large accounts together. It's not 1 + 1 = 3. It's like 1 + 1 = 5 because you get like this amplification effect of, oh, there's attention around them. So other people kind of want to look around as well. And so with crypto, it's the same. It's because it's like you have this emerging technology, there's attention, but you're now merging these DeFi tools together. And it's going to bring in other people who have money. And it just ends up becoming like a positive effect. It's hard to break that kind of like territorial kind of, you know, stance for some people, especially in the startup world where so many companies like, go belly up pretty often. But I love working with people, and so do we, and we embrace that. So I do appreciate you for inviting us, and I'm really excited for
man.
that.
Yeah, 100%. I'm excited for it.
One final question I'll answer, Jelly, the
Yeah.
Jelly Bean. So you mentioned that AI infrastructure is largely untapped. Do you see AI agents becoming a core part of that infrastructure? Part 2, and Adam, I'll pass this off to you if you want to take it. If so, what other components are essential to fully unlocking this space, and how does cybersecurity factor into all of these systems as the complexity continues to grow in autonomy?
Yeah, I think we touched on it maybe earlier in the show. You missed that part. I think it's in a lot of ways, it's being figured out right now by the builders. And, I think it's wise to be, when you're using an AI agent like this to trade or interact with your wallet for the first time, be very conservative, right? And figure it out while you figure it out, and understand that maybe there will be some, errors and mistakes at the beginning. But this is being built out very, very quickly, and AI is getting much better very, very quickly. And so I think it'll, my vision and my view, I have very little doubt that this is actually going to be a safer way to trade down the road. I mean, just if you've been in crypto long enough, the amount of people getting rugged using MetaMask and clicking on the wrong link or drainer accounts or whatever. I mean, it's all the time. And so I think, AI actually is going to provide a level of security above and beyond what we have in crypto. So I'm actually very bullish on it getting much, much better due to AI. So yeah, that's my current
And
view.
if I could just echo that sentiment, guys, because I never thought I'd be in that position, but last Sunday I got taken, right? And it wasn't even my wallet, it was my MacBook, because I wasn't paying attention. Yeah. And I mean, the social engineering that they pulled on me was some intricate shit. And all of my hot wallets, thank God I had the majority of like 90% of my Bitcoin, thank God, was on my cold wallet. But every one of my hot, this still doesn't mean it wasn't a decent amount of money. I mean, we're talking 10K in BTC, and then the ordinals and all the other NFTs and every EVM chain that I had some money on. So it wasn't small, but cybersecurity is definitely going to be a big deal. And this is going to be the stuff that we're going to have to utilize to be able to genuinely stay safe.
For sure,
because
dude.
I slipped up.
Did they get you through the Zoom one? Did you get hacked through the Zoom?
It was Huddle. It was a Huddle one, but it was through an account. It wasn't on Telegram. It was actually on what's it called? It was on Twitter. And then what I didn't pay attention to, it made me download something because it kept showing that it was spinning, and they told me I was late for this meeting. And the account that I was getting it from was from Alex, my friend Alex's account, which was hacked as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm doing all this tomorrow. I'm going into it in depth tomorrow with the Fairside guys, and Michael from MetaMask is going to wildcard Michael from MetaMask, and is going to be there to help me break this all down and kind of figure out what went wrong. But yeah, like that's
but I mean, I don't know if you heard Jake had a similar incident with Zoom.
Yeah.
And it's
I heard you last week with Astar last week, right?
Yeah, I lost like 200 grand almost from that. My case apparently has like gotten pretty large. I'm talking with like Zoom, with I guess you'd say government entities, with with law firms. Yeah, it's my post got like over 1 million views, and like it became a lot of people became very interested in it. Apparently it's all part of the same group from what I'm learning, or at least a few of them. And what they're doing is they're using video conferencing software. So yours was Huddle. I've heard the Huddle one actually as well. Yeah. And they use Zoom. And in these video conferencing software, some of them have this thing that's called a remote access.
Yeah, that's
where then when they can either like in some of these, there's like a 0-day exploit where they can just automatically download the malware onto your computer. Other ones, you have to give them permission. So they'll go through and break that down. But there's, dude, millions. I would not be surprised if it's tens of millions of dollars at this point. Like
easily.
It's literally, dude, so many people. And how they got me, just to do a short, they messaged me off of a Twitter account of a YouTuber. They hacked this YouTuber who invited me to go on their show, and then they used
a YouTube account, legit Twitter account, legit. Yeah. It's a real YouTube account, real Twitter account, and they hacked him, and he didn't even realize he was hacked. So they're sending out DMs from him and he doesn't even recognize.
And they delete it. So they'll message you on the account on Twitter, and then they'll delete the account. So the guy who has the account doesn't even know that he's hacked. And they'll have you message them on a different platform to take it to Telegram or WhatsApp or something like that. And what they did when they interviewed me is they used AI to train the AI on this YouTuber's voice. So when I was interviewed, it was in his voice.
So you were undergoing the interview like a real what you
A
thought
real
was
interview.
a real interview. Holy shit.
Bro, the shit. I'm telling you, man, in a year from now, we're not even going to know we're even talking to each other.
I swear to God.
Like,
Yo, Adam,
the social engineering is going to get crazy. It's like, it's going to get crazy fast.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. You got to be careful out there. And then literally like a few days after that, these scammers, I'm assuming it's the same one. My buddy I was talking with on Telegram about an integration into Agent Hustle. He works in the Bitcoin kind of ecosystem. The conversation kind of stalled, or we were talking about, the conversation stalled for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden at night, it's like a Friday night. It's like, hey, let's schedule a call. And I was like, we don't need a call. We're working on BTC in a month from now. And then he's like, no, let's get on a call. And I was like, the fuck, what's up with this guy? And so I went to bed, and then the Telegram is deleted, and he messages me on Twitter, and he's like, dude, don't respond to that. I got hacked on Telegram. And they're just like, if anyone is trying to force you to get on a video call, like they're hacked. Yeah, you got to be very, very wary of that. So they're literally hacking people, and people could be hacked for weeks or months before they actually realize it.
Yeah, Jelly Bean. That's exactly what we need. An AI infrastructure that's founded with cybersecurity in mind. Facts, bro.
So just like kind of for us, so for this cybersecurity that we put in place for Agent Hustle, obviously non-custodial support, right? Emblem doesn't have access to your private key. So if Emblem gets hacked in some sort of way, there's no, like, we don't have the access to the private keys of any of these vaults on the platform. It's all used in a trusted execution environment, which uses hardware and all this other stuff. On top of that, we have different safety features where if Hustle is going to have a transaction, he asks to confirm with you, right? And so you put all these kind of on the base layer, right? Always be careful of like platforms that have custodial wallets, because that's what happened to Dave and myself. Is if you get hacked and you're using a custodial wallet, what they do is they store your private keys in your web browser. So when you get hacked and they download malware, I've learned all this over the last month as I'm going through the cybersecurity stuff. They basically come into your computer and they take what's called a snapshot. Yeah. And when they take a snapshot of all your cookies and stuff, all the custodial wallets and web extensions that have your keys stored in your browser through something called session keys, which means like anytime you go to a website, you don't have to reconnect your wallet. Mm-hmm. Like they have access to all that. They hacked my Twitter account. They hacked my bank account. They hacked my Gmail. Like obviously I had 2FA on a lot of this stuff and all this stuff.
Yeah,
but
it could have been a lot worse if I didn't have 2FA also. Thank God, man, because my Twitter account is literally my lifeline. If I didn't have that shit, like the 2FA, like the authenticator genuinely saved my ass from a lot more like pain and hurt. But Jake, man, I'm sorry that shit happened to you, bro. Like, hey, listen, man, we're going to start our own fucking,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you, Dave. I'm sorry to hear that too, but I'm excited to have the conversation on Friday. And also everyone, the 1,353 different people who've come in and out of this conversation over the last hour and a half or so. We hit records. We had fun with Agent Hustle. AI is here. All the new friends, the website is agenthustle.ai. So you could go ahead there. You could follow Dave, follow, Adam and myself. You shoot us a DM, hop in the Discord or the Telegram. Happy to walk through with people how to use it, how to onboard it. It's a good old time. Until then, Landy, also pleasure to meet. And that seems to be a good Dave community member. Yeah.
Landy.
Dave, appreciate you as all. Yep. And Lord Jamie with the AI Vape Cabal. Let's go. There we go. We'll see everyone soon. Have a good one. Stay safe out there and try this stuff out.